Hello everyone and welcome back to YAYA TV. This is another episode of Marketplace Apostles and I'm so excited that you're joining us for this episode. Alright, what I thought I would do over the next couple of weeks is actually share a few truths with you, a few biblical truths with you that undergird the idea behind Marketplace Apostles. Some of these truths would be things that you are already familiar with, and I hope they are good reminders. Some of them are going to be rather strange to you. Some of them are going to be alien to you. When I share some of them, you might think that are these truths even practical or practicable in the culture that we live in today? But nevertheless, I hope this time would be insightful and interesting for you, and hopefully we can learn one or two things in the process.
Hello everybody, I hope you guys are blessed by the video that you are watching. Sorry to disturb your watch. My name is Olumoroti. I am the host of PSF Corner and you are watching YAYA TV. Enjoy.
If you have been a Christian for a few weeks or a few years, you will have probably heard the question, where were the disciples first called Christians? And the disciples were first called Christians in the city of Antioch. And it's recorded in Acts chapter 11 verse 26. It says, and when he had found him, he being Barnabas, and him there being Saul, Barnabas went out looking for Saul. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people, and the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. So that's where it's recorded, and I have fond memories of Sunday school quizzes when I was a teenager where they would ask us, where were the disciples first called Christians? And everyone knew it was Antioch. It was Antioch. It was a very popular Sunday school quiz question back in the days. A lesser known fact, however, is that the term Christians was meant to be derogatory. It was outsiders who called the disciples Christians, and it was meant to be derogatory. They were trying to spite them. It was not a flattering term. It was not flattery at all to be called Christians. The disciples themselves actually called themselves followers of the way. Back in the first century, for you to be a disciple, for you to qualify as a disciple, you had to forsake your father, your mother, forsake your family, your brother, your sister, and follow this teacher. If you wanted to follow a teacher or a philosopher back in the first century, like one of these popular Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius or Zeno and all these Stoic philosophers, you had to literally forget everything you have ever learned, and you come to the teacher willing to imbibe new knowledge and new teaching. He had to empty you of everything you knew, and it will fill you up with new teaching and new it was like an indoctrination, and that was the process that the disciples had signed up for, and that they called themselves followers of the way. If your teacher, if your philosopher expressed an opinion on an issue, on a political issue or a cultural issue, you as the disciple, you had no business thinking about it. You just swallowed everything the teacher said, hook, line, sinker, boat, fish, and everything. That was the way it was. You had no business thinking about it, praying about it. If the philosopher or your teacher has expressed an opinion on a public debate or an issue, a political issue, or something that is being discussed in the town square, you had no business even thinking about a different way of approaching it. You are devoted wholly to this teacher. That was the way it was. And this is what the disciples had signed up for. And so outsiders observed that, and they saw that these people were just copy Christs. They were copy Christs. And when you say you are, you and I don't like to be called copycats, right? You don't like to be called copycats. If someone calls you copycat, you feel offended. That was the idea, that you are just copy Christs. You are just like him. You are not original in your own thinking, and it was meant to be derogatory. So that was the way things were back in the days. Well, the challenge for you and I is to ask the question: our devotion or our decision to follow Christ, has it affected every area of our lives. As a disciple back in the day, when you choose to follow Jesus, it had implications for the way you lived your life. It had implications for every aspect of your life. It had implications for your daily commitments. It had implications for where you go, who you talk to, where you couldn't go, the kinds of friends you had, the kinds of things you talk about. It had implications for every facet of our lives. So here's what I want you and I to do. Ask the question sincerely. My decision to follow Jesus, does it have an implication for the kinds of opportunity I choose to pursue? Does it have implication for the type of career I choose to pursue? Does it have implication for the way I conduct myself on the job? Does it have implication for the types of conversations I choose to have, the kinds of friends I keep? These are the questions that you and I should ask ourselves, because that is what it means to be disciples. That is what it means to be a follower of the way. That is what it means to be a marketplace apostle. All right, that's all I'm going to be sharing on today's episode of the Marketplace Apostles. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye-bye.